What's your favorite saxophone mic and where do you place it?
My favorite saxophone mic to these days is usually a 67. And I like to place it a little off the side, away from the saxophone. If it's a saxophone solo, I'll actually use two mics, and I'll have one. I'll run a 67, say, in front of the bell, and then I'll have another 67 or an 87. I'll have it off to the side where the
At a right angle?
off like this, depending upon how the guy is playing. And
Okay, if you're the guy that's playing,
if I'm the guy that's playing, well, I have to look at the saxophone. But I will have it off the side that has the pads on it, where the little holes that open and close, like, saxophone's somewhat like an erector's head. So, I will get some off the side where the holes are opening, and some off the front where the bell is.
okay, if you were holding the saxophone in your hand,
I wouldn't know which side had the holes on it because I can't picture a sax. I can picture the sax, but I don't know if the holes are over there or if they're over there.
okay, so you just bring it in from
I bring
the
it
whole
in from the side where the holes are.
Okay, and then you got your one in the front?
I got my one in front. This is just for a guy who's soloing, and then you'll find that you get the full tone of the instrument that you normally hear in a room, because all the sound doesn't come out of the bell, and all the sound doesn't come out of the holes. But for a solo, and I want a close sound, I'll do that.
And do you
I'll
use
put it
those
on two tracks.
in your mix configuration? Do you use those two mics in stereo, or do you put them both on?
Oh no, I
straight up
won't
the
use
middle?
them spread left and right, but I may have them a little wide.
Uh-huh.
It might be a little off. It depends, open up, or they might be right with each other, depending upon what's going on in the music and how dense it is.
1 o'clock and 2 o'clock or something? I mean, 1
Yeah,
o'clock
I
and
know
10?
you mean 11 o'clock and
11
1
o'clock and 1
o'clock, or
o'clock.
yes.
Okay.
Usually I don't have a bunch of ribbons around, so I will save the ribbon for the trumpets.
Oh, you like them for trumpets?
Yes, right, because those guys can really blat.
And do you use different mics or different placements for different kinds of music, like jazz, as opposed to an R&B
Yes,
sound?
exactly. With jazz, you can give it a little more open space, and you have to be a little more aware of the saxophone or the soloist or the horn section's dynamic, because usually jazz is a much more open thing. It's not as dense, so there's things will be coming and going with the person's dynamic, the band's dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in R&B, the horn section you want it to pop through. I will whack it a bit with some compression.
Mm-hmm.
And closer mic it.
And do you use the same kind of mics, or do you use different
Yes,
mics?
I tend to do that. Now, and depending upon the room, I find that I'll get most of the horn sound from the room mics. I'll have two nice room mics. That'll be condenser mics, and then I will closer mic the section, and then I'll start out with the room mics and then bring the section in to fill in whatever's needed in there.
Do you find yourself EQing a solo saxophone very much?
No, I find that by moving the mic or moving the guy or taking the rug off the floor or putting a rug down or changing where he's standing in the room, then I like to get it as close as I can. Then when in mixing, I might just color it a little bit just to fill in what may be needed in the mix, or take a little bit out in order to not fill up like 200, 150 in the mix. You'll find it. Mm-hmm. Most instruments have a lot there, so you have to be careful there.
Are there any EQs that are better than others for this specific thing, saxophone?
The APIs, all the older Class A EQs and things like that, I prefer.
Do you ever use compression on saxophone?
I have to say that I will use compression on just about everything at different times, but not on a regular basis. Everything's different for every song and for every player. Some people have breath control, and some horn players, along with singers, will have mic technique, and that also is going to help you when you're recording it. And if you're compressing and a guy is using his mic technique, you could go beyond what you really need. So the whole idea is to be listening first, and actually it comes down to listening first.
Right. You listen first and then add.
Then you see what you need to do. You listen to what he does.